What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another video. And today we'll be getting into the Housewives of Potomac. Yes, I know we have not actually started the season as yet, but we have some news that is coming out. We all saw, I believe it was last week, where we saw that Monique Samuels has rejoined the show as a friend of. Now, of course, we have seen where most of these housewives tend to now take on the friend of role. Example, Cynthia, and I believe Mary Cosby at one point in Salt Lake City, where for them it works for their lifestyle. They have a lot going on outside of the show, and they'll like the flexibility when they're a friend of. They don't necessarily have to film as much, and their schedule or filming schedule is not so chaotic, especially if they are the one a part of the main drama for the season. They tend to like this role now where pretty much I'm assuming they are getting a bit more than what a regular friend of would get because their tenure of being on the show, and of course previously being a housewife, main housewife. So we saw where Monique Samuels announced that yes, she will be a part of the show. She did a live where she did also stated that she will also be basically a part of the cast basically for season 10 as a friend of. Now, for me, what I think of the idea is I think if it works for her, then that is a good thing because I will not necessarily want her to be a part of the show if she feels as if this is something that's not going to work for her based on where she is currently in her life at this point. So I am for it because the last we got Monique was season 5 reunion, which we all can remember, where she basically had that epic showdown between Monique. It wasn't even a showdown much between her and Candice, which was the main highlights of the season with the fight between the two of them. It was mostly around the whole Giselle and she reading, having the binder to talk about Giselle and her pastor, that Giselle at that time was flaunting that she and Jamal were back together. So we did not necessarily get a follow up to after that to basically explain the follow up basically from that reunion pretty much. We only got interviews afterwards where Monique was basically saying that Giselle basically had a meltdown. And of course, she says this was where she decided not to return to the show because this was pretty much her her breaking point where the producers seemed like they were protecting Giselle at the time. So her basically trying to return as a friend of, we do see where we see they will be having a actual sit down between the two, and I'm hoping this is something to follow up from the last, and it's not something that's currently going on in the current season that they're filming. It actually is maybe a final sit down between the two of them from the last time they actually were on the show. So I'm gonna play an actual clip of the actual Monique's when she did her live. I believe she was on live, and she basically discussed the whole being a part of, being basically saying that she's coming back, etc. Because we all know she always keeps saying that she's not coming back, and pretty much persons, whatever the case might be. So let me just go ahead and share my screen so you guys can take a look on what Monique had to say.
Giving everything that I have going on in my life between my business, Millie Essentials, which has been extreme since I've been gone. Every time I've been asked, I've been like, no. My business, Millie Essentials, which has been extremely successful. And then also my book that I've been working on, which for anyone who's been following me consistently, y'all know I've been talking about my book for like at least 2 years now. It's been a work in progress. It's also something that's near and dear to me. And I love that you'll not only be able to see the levels of growth that I've achieved when you read my book, but you'll also be able to see it now on TV as well. So I have been able to move past that, and it's my season. I'm stepping into my season. I feel like everything that I've gone through up until this point has been for this moment, and I'm really excited. And yes. I'm not worried. I'm like, I put my ego in check a long time ago. I put my ego in check during Love and Marriage DC. How about that? But I've grown so much, and I know who I am, and I have nothing to prove.
All right, so that was Monique basically on live where she shared that she has her ego in check, and she basically confirming finally this time that she would be returning. I think she also stated that she was asked around 7 times to return and she keep on declining because I guess then she was not ready. But for her, she thinks she's ready now to return. So, do you guys think that Monique returning will be good? Or do you think that we don't want it because if she's not necessarily coming back with Candice where they can have their sit down, then what is the point in seeing both of them on our screen? I'm sorry, seeing her alone on our screen if we don't have Candice. But we do see where we'll probably more likely have a sit down between Gizelle and Monique, which I think will also be interesting to watch. So let me know, guys, your thoughts on that. Are you interested in seeing her back on our screen, or are you pretty much like over it at this point, and her coming back to the show would not necessarily do anything for the show? Now, next thing that I want to get into as well, we saw where I don't really watch their podcast, but we came across a clip where Gizelle and Robin, they were discussing the whole Brit Edie of it all. And they were stating that Bravo doesn't seem to, or the production company, to put it that way, doesn't seem to pick the right candidates for the show. So I'm just going to go step into what they both had to say in terms of that happening.
Yeah. So looks like clearly she don't want her job. Or walk off the reunion and not finish it. Just saying that too. Right. Okay. That too.
Yeah.
So she put a message out that said like, oh, I recently found out that the pictures that Kenya posted or, printed out weren't actually me. Right. So is that what the lawsuit? What is she suing Bravo and Truly Production for? Truly Original for? I don't know. Like, I'm very confused. But you filmed this whole incident happened. Yeah. You filmed an entire season. Yeah. You showed up to work. Like, you were fine. You were fine. They actually got rid of the person that printed your supposed pictures. Yeah. Kenya's gone. Where Kenya should be back. Right. And let me say this. If anybody should be suing, I think it's Kenya. Right. Like, or if anybody might have a suit. Maybe. First of all, reunion's not optional. I just want everybody to be clear. Like, you can't just, maybe it's Kenya. Not this girl. Right. Not her. I don't know. Like, I mean, I don't even understand. I can't wrap my head around what she would be suing for. You know what I said to myself? And I'm not pointing any finger at anyone. Okay. But I said to myself, I don't know who's doing casting. When I say I don't know who's doing casting, I'm lying. Do better. Do better. Because this could have all been avoided. Well, yeah. But I think some people don't present their real selves during the casting process. Yeah. Okay, but there was history on this girl. She was a Stevie J girl. Yeah. I mean, there's so much that should have signaled to them. This is not a good choice. Yes. Yeah. I wonder why they made that decision. I don't know. But so that's a hot mess. That's a hot mess. That is very. And then Kenya wasn't at the reunion. No. Like, and she kind of like made an announcement saying like she was uninvited to the reunion or something like. But I didn't really think I didn't expect to see her at the reunion. No, I didn't expect to see her either. I mean, listen, I think that if they would have known that this girl wasn't coming, yes, I'm sure they would have called Kenya and been like, hey, maybe it's Kenya, not this girl, right? Not her. I don't know. Like, I mean, I don't even understand. I can't wrap my head around what she would be suing for. You know what I said to myself?
So yeah, there we have it. We had Gizelle and Robin pretty much confused about Brit Edie basically suing the network, and then also she's stating that the pictures weren't her. And they themselves are confused as well when it comes on to the production. Like, who is picking these girls when it comes on to these shows? Because you guys, especially for Atlanta at this point, keep on picking the wrong candidates, and then this drama goes on. And I'm sure this is not what you guys wanted when it comes on to the show or this season. But who exactly is picking these persons to be on the platform and not vetting the background of these people? Because from the get-go, we all stated when she made that threat against Kenya, I think that should have been the line that they drew and got rid of her because she was new. No one knew her. You could have edited out all of her scenes as if like you done with other persons who were auditioning to be on the show. So her being on this show for whatever reason and you guys choosing her or not necessarily taking her threat seriously till where it ended to where Kenya did what she did. And it led to where Kenya got dismissed and she was still there, only to turn around now this girl, what you guys were, I'm assuming, we're trying to avoid, is now suing y'all for the same thing that I guess you did not expect to happen when he came on to Kenya. Now, I don't necessarily feel totally sorry for it. So Bravo has some explaining to do, or they have a lot of lawsuits against them at this point. So I don't see why is it they will want to add another lawsuit to their resume at this point. So let me know what your guys' thoughts are on all of this news that has happened in the past week. Remember, guys, to like the video, to comment, to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, y'all.